We don't have this back home. This is the perfect place to find the underrated.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really nice. It's like Whiskey Disneyland.
Banging.
Oh, we'll have to get that in.
Yeah.
Welcome to Festival. I'm here with Jeff. Today we're exploring some of the best whiskey bars, whiskey shops in London. I think going shopping for whiskey can sometimes be confusing. We're going to basically go into the shops and sort of show you how we would approach it, see if we can find some gems and just see what's interesting, what stands out.
Let's rock on.
Let's rock on. There it is. Whiskey. That's what we came for.
Banging.
We don't have this back home. Hey, I'm Phil.
Hi, Nelson. Good to
What was
meet
your
you.
name?
Nelson.
What would be some of those budget picks you'd be showing people?
I'd say if you're a beginner to drinking whiskey, maybe don't need to go over £70. You can find absolutely great things. That's what I'm talking about.
Thompson.
They are great if you like something that is mildly peated.
Yeah.
It's an 8-year-old, otherwise a 6-year-old, which has a lot of caramel orchard fruits. And it's super nice and easy drinking.
34 quid. Tell me about, single malt. So everyone knows bourbon in the US, but actually they're doing single malt too.
The distillers like Westlands, Westwards. It's refreshing to see something that's a bit different, that is not bourbon or rye.
There's a lot of overlap I find between American single malt and Scotch single malt. There's a lot of closeness in flavours, I think, but all the ones I've tried have just been banging. Every year, Westland goes into this is going to be my whiskey of the year. Yeah, no question, there's always a Westland.
I'd have to sell my house for this section. This is what quite is confusing from people from a Scotch background. Is actually these, all of these?
They're all made.
All the same distillery.
Eagle Rare 10 is just banging, it is.
What's an underrated whiskey you don't think's talked about enough? This one?
That's the one.
Underrated, yeah. Have you ever had a Manic Malt?
Don't believe so. Is that the Flora and Fauna range one? That one?
Yeah,
I know.
yeah, fairly small production. As far as I understand, they share the same stuff. That's the Nossi. And Otmore would probably be another one that I have.
If I'm in the mood for a light and fruity, it's either a Glencairn or an Otmore, it's sort of, I bounce between those two. There's actually some great stuff here, and I think for you guys, if you don't have the budget to buy the full bottle or you just want to test it out first, there's some here straight away, low-hanging fruit, I love the Denison 12, you even got an Aaron 10 up there, and all these ones that talk so much on the channel, the Chag 10, you can basically, Burnahaven 12, look, you could do your light and fruity, your peaty and smoky, and then your rich and round, just on that shelf there.
It is a super rare little gem, that one.
Super rare little gem.
Yeah, absolutely worth trying if you haven't.
51.8%, how much was that one?
5.45.
We'll have to get that in.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, we'll add that to the list.
I'll carry your shopping for you.
Jeff's gonna carry me, he's my...
I'm the bag man.
He's my mule. We're gonna try some whiskey. Exclusive redbreast cream sherry single cask. Tell me about it.
1997 vintage. This only came out to us a couple of weeks ago.
Oh.
I only just got it in, but it's super rich, super delicious.
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah, that's
Oh, yum.
It's a safe dram for the morning, that is.
Yeah. I like that on the palate more than the nose, actually.
Oh, it's banging, it is.
Sometimes I found with the normal redbreast 12, I love it, very approachable, but the finish always would just...
Cut off.
Yeah, it would kind of go, and then it's gone. This is just...
It's a buttery dream.
It's like that mosquito when you're trying to go to sleep. It's just like... Is
that the official tasting notes, yeah?
Tasting note, yeah, there you go.
Buttery cream, yeah.
This is why I'm the pro.
Don't get much better chasers than that, straight into This is how you start a morning.
What would win in a fight, a beer or a griller?
Take it a lot of urge for me not to say your mum.
In this video as well, I want to show you guys, we're taking you to a specialist store, but what about the stores that are just, your Tesco's? Maybe you're a small town somewhere in the UK. Yeah, what can you find? So for those who are not from the UK, what is a Tesco's?
Okay.
Run. Supermarkets, right? Oh gosh.
That's a cool Glenfiddich 12, that.
And what's that? Lefroy Oak Select. 25 quid.
And Glenmorangie 12. I like the 10, maybe I like the 12. You got your black label for 23 quid. You got your classic Jack Daniels, your Bells, your Grouse, your White Mackay. That's not bad for a tiny little supermarket range. Tesco Express. It's like a mini Tesco.
Yeah.
Tesco Light.
But is it just independent bottlings? Yeah.
Mostly independent bottlings, yeah. Primarily small batch single malts at 46% and single cask at cask strength.
What even is an independent bottling?
Independent bottling just means that we buy whiskey by the cask from distilleries, from brokers, and then mature them and bottle them ourselves. You know, if we buy sort of quite large parcels of cask, just say we get 10 from the same distillery, we might decide, right, 5 of them we'll keep in ex-bourbon, and the other ones we might put in various different sort of sherry casks or wine casks, things like that, just to have a bit of variation with them, really.
This was really cool because it's not just you're buying the cask, it's actually you actually play a creative role. It's not just like,
oh, very much so, yeah.
This cask, we're selling it to you. Yeah.
No, very much so. It's much smaller batch than anything that you get from distilleries themselves, generally. As pure an expression of that whiskey as possible.
Maybe we've got 100 quid to spend.
Mm-hmm.
Is there something interesting here you think that would, like, what would you...
You've got like the 22-year-old Glenfarclas, matured in Oloroso.
Oh, this is not a 43% 22-year-old Glenfarclas. This is your cask strength. So you can water it down. You're basically going to be nearly a litre out of this by the time.
Exactly.
It's a blended Campbelltown malt.
40 quid.
Yeah, I know. That's why it's tickling my big girl.
Springbank. I love
Springbank.
Just chilling.
just chilling. How much is it?
It hasn't got a price tag that
Oh, okay. For 50 quid you can get a...
You've got the heavily peated, the latest release, which is amazing. 12 and the 16, bang. Long row peated is just a gem. A fair few selection of Campbelltown lot.
Well, I love this. This is what my studio should look like.
So yeah, you've got our 20 centilitre bottlings there. Rums, cask strength.
We're just talking about when you become a dad, you just feel like wearing hats. So, what do you reckon? Does it look good? Pretty cool, eh? Just a cool guy.
When he edits the video, it'll be 3 minutes of whiskey and then, look at this hat. look how good I look in this damn hat.
Really good. Thanks for showing us around.
Easy.
Yeah, what a cool shot.
Yeah, good day.
What was your highlight so far?
The Whisky Exchange exclusive redbreast, which was done in cream sherry.
Yeah.
That was phenomenal. I was ready to drop above my whiskey budget for
A
that.
lot of money. And now we're at another Whisky Exchange.
Yeah, so this is the second one we're going to hit. We may hit Covent Garden if we had time.
We went to the other Whisky Exchange. Like, is there a difference between them?
The
Or?
concept is similar, but we do have our own kind of identities. The shops have different layouts.
Yeah.
And we have different space as well. So if you actually look at the shelves, you will see that everything is like geographically spread out. So we kind of started with a strip of lowlands.
Yeah.
Then we go into Isla, we go into Highlands. And everything is arranged by distillery.
Seriously? Oh, I actually haven't had the Ardnaho yet. Oh, and you got the Kilherman Sinag cask strength.
Yes, yeah.
My audience just obsessed with Sinag. I made it my whiskey of the year last year, just as good value thing. They've loved it. It's sort of become almost like a running.
It's almost memeable now.
But yeah, the cask strength version's now out, so everyone.
Yes, yeah.
If you want to try the
Redbreast
cask
is
strength.
sold out on the website.
So if you're sort of someone, maybe you're a beginner to whiskey, is there any whiskies you would kind of go to?
So I'm not gonna go for like the big famous brands. I would probably go for slightly less known people. So for example, we actually quite like Glencairn for people who like something a bit more softer.
Yeah.
It's a very nice whiskey to kind of like begin with.
Yeah.
Super fruity, really pleasant.
Love the Glencairn.
Then I always kind of like recommend people try Edgedown as well. For someone who has a slightly sweeter tooth. Because it's very fudgy, has a lot of texture. You know, it used to be the smallest distillery in Scotland. Not anymore, so it's kind of like the boom of craft distilling.
Yeah, only 45 quid as well.
Fantastic, yeah.
Decent amount of Australian whiskey here too. This is amazing. I don't know why anyone buys airport whiskey. Stuff over in London, like, just no, ignore the airport.
It's a bit of more of an experience.
I feel like this is your red wine and steak, isn't it?
Red wine estate.
This is like you're out at a restaurant.
The winey peppercorn sauce. Oh, it's banging that is.
Would you say there's a whiskey that people kind of look past a lot?
Okay, so this is a fun one.
Yeah.
A senior colleague of mine once played a small trick on me.
Yeah.
We were in a whiskey bar and he bought me a jam. It was a mystery jam. And I tried it and I was like, this is so exceptionally fruity. And I couldn't figure out what this was because it was the most obvious whiskey ever. But it was actually a Glenfiddich IPA cask.
Ah.
And in that setting, it just hit all the right notes. And it was just like, it was not as delicate as the 12 years old. It still had a bit more, texture.
Yeah.
And that kind of beer cask finish was like awesome. And I think that's what kind of like brought mainstream brands back into my view.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit.
I'm guilty of that. I personally have looked past that whiskey, so I'm gonna have to have a relook at that.
Yeah.
Basically, when I used to live in London, I used to come to this bar. Seeing a bunch of whiskies in one shop was, it just blew my mind. So yeah, we're going back to Milroy.
They got some wild whiskey in there, haven't they? It's banging, it is.
We do 2 glasses. It's the Narnia door, you know?
Here we go. Look at that.
So obviously, it's not set up in a way that it would when there's a tasting here. So basically, we got our tasting room stock in here, some older bottles, like I think there's Ben Vivis and stuff like that. You can see the Milroy brothers there in the frames. This newspaper here, you have a Fat 69 ad, I think.
Oh, that's
very
sick.
suitable, you know.
Yeah, man.
Do you know what? Talking about New Zealand, Thompson. They do
Thompson, yeah, the Manuka. Yeah.
Manuka stuff.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
They-
good.
yeah.
It's so good.
They dry the barley with Manuka.
I got customers, boys and girls, by the way, in their early 20s, who are passionate about whiskey. And it's not about the quantity they consume, it's about, once again, the stories. They want to know how, let's say, washbacks, what's the fermentation time in there, what kind of shape of stills you use, and how renewable is. Obviously, that's one thing, which, you know, let's not go into that too much, but you get the idea. There's a lot more to it now. People care what they're drinking rather than the quantity, which is very, I would say, it's a healthy approach, but also gives the product a lot more appreciation.
Yeah.
It generally does. It's not just, hey, let's just sit down, get pissed. That's it. That's what your product is lowered to. Now it is a thing. You know, you build your moment and that particular moment in life around it. That, you know, I think it's great.
Yeah, you don't uncork the whiskey, uncork the experience. It's a whole thing. It could be lubrication for a get-together. It can be for chatting. It's, it's wild. Dry whiskey's brilliant.
You always enjoy whiskey with all your senses, but one of the categories is nostalgia. So it doesn't only warm the throat, it warms the heart as well.
That's great. That's a good quote. I didn't quote that, yeah.
I know it's a cliche thing to say, but yeah, like good whiskey connects people. And they, you know, stories and the mood, the atmosphere. So many things can be written about whiskey, which has nothing to do with the aroma or the flavour.
I better let you get back to the bar and back to your job. This has been such an awesome. I feel like we could chat for 3 hours and sit on that couch.
Easily. So.
One thing I just want to say is Whisky Exchange did not sponsor this video, but we are going to another Whisky Exchange. But they haven't paid us to go to any of these places. We just heard from the community that it's great. Still sponsored, but we're going to 3 Whisky Exchanges. So how's this shop different to the other two?
We're split over 2 floors. Usually we have this beautiful neon sign that points you down to where most of the whiskey is kept. We actually do keep our North American whiskies up here because we don't have enough space downstairs to really do it justice. But downstairs is kind of where the magic happens. So, I mean, if you want to head down.
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, show us around.
This is our amazing wall of single malt starch, which is beautiful and where I spend most of my time dribbling over bottles. We also have our Irish whiskies just over here. And then our world whiskies along the side over here. Starting with Japanese whiskey, we're getting a lot more English whiskey in, which is fantastic. A lot of people getting really into it, but also whiskies from everywhere else in the world as well.
It's like Whiskey Disneyland. What's a whiskey on the shelf, like you personally, when it runs out, you feel like, I should probably get another one?
Anything from Liquid. I don't know why I fell in love with Lincoln maybe a couple of years ago, and pretty much ever since then I've just been like, I need at least one Liquid on my shelf at all time. And then I have now got about 4 or 5.
Amazing.
Different ages,
do you have it here?
Different styles. We have a few liquids. This is my glorious shelf of liquid right here. Including some of our own bottling. So this was bottled for the Whisky Show a few years ago, which was my favourite bottle and really the one that kind of introduced me to liquid as a single malt. Obviously used mostly for blending, so it's not something you necessarily see a lot of.
We were in Tesco's and we're looking like your basic supermarket whiskey is around 40 quid. Right here you have an independent bottling Linkwood that you're saying is a perma shelf for you. That
it is fantastic.
What is 46 quid?
I think there are so many whiskies out there that people disregard because, I mean, especially like maybe whiskey enthusiasts maybe overlook some of the bigger whiskies. Glenfiddich, for instance. Like a lot of people will be like, oh no, I had Glenfiddich when I started drinking whiskey, but now I don't drink anymore. I've recently gone and revisited some of these kind of whiskies, like the Glenfiddich, even like Glenlivet. You know, they've really surprised me.
Agree.
And it's usually the younger expressions as well, the 12-year-olds, the 15-year-olds. Like they are such good, for lack of a better term, bread and butter whiskies that sometimes I think they get forgotten about in the corner because there's always something shiny and new. They've been around for, you know, some of these, like Glenlivet, 200 years this year. And people sometimes just kind of, it's part of the furniture, and I sometimes think they get forgotten, but they're all beautiful.
How would you suggest a friend of yours coming over from overseas, how should they approach London and the whiskey scene?
Oh, wow. I mean, like, central London itself is such like a incredible concentration of whiskey. I mean, it's not just obviously our 3 stores and the Whisky Exchange, all of which have their own feel and different vibe and all of that kind of thing. But, you know, there are some other really great retailers out there. You've got retailers and bars. You've got Dram, newly opened, which is fantastic. Obviously, Milroy has been around forever, and hopefully will be around forever because I love them very much. And, you know, there is the Melody Bar, which is fantastic, a little bit further out. There are so many places that you can go, but I think the best thing you can do is just turn up and ask questions.
What's been cool about all the whiskey exchanges I've been to, and when I've asked them the questions, like genuinely their eyes light up about a certain whiskey. Like they do genuinely like the whiskey, and like I think if you're a whiskey enthusiast and you're coming here, you can actually talk to a whiskey enthusiast and to help, you know, show you around and find something interesting.
31-year-old Fraser Glenlivet. This is from our Lost in Time series that we brought out a few months ago. Fraser Glenlivet, you may also know as Brave Owl. So we had a Brave Owl and a Fraser Glenlivet, but this one was my particular favourite. So
the gauntlet's been thrown down. This is, you know.
Oh yeah, no, that's a win.
Oh, it's a birthday for me as well.
Happy birthday!
Oh yeah. No, all good.
I'll be right back.
All right. We'll do some notes.
It's like fruity apples. Oh, it's like a prickly pear bomb. It's banging, it is.
Originally it was called Brace of Glenlivet, but then of course the company that obviously owned Brace of Glenlivet also owned D. Glenlivet, and people were thinking, oh, this is Glenlivet. No, it's Brace. So now they bottle it as Brave Owl.
Yes.
We do actually have a Brave Owl on the shelf as well.
Right.
Yeah, it's right in the back of beyond. It's right up in the hills of Speyside. Not an easy place to get. When you consider that most distilleries, about 90 to 95% of their output is put into blends.
Yeah.
Literally only less than 5%. Distilleries like, say, Lagavulin and Glenmorangie will focus more on the single malt. But again, most distilleries are factories for blending, and that's it. And a lot of people don't realise that. They think, oh, there's loads of single malt.
To be honest, I wasn't sure what I'd find coming back to London. But walking through places like Milroy's, where I started my whiskey journey, and meeting the people at Cadenhead and the Whisky Exchange reminded me of why local shops matter. They're not just stores, they're run by people who love whiskey and want to share that passion. So whether you're new to whiskey or you're just hunting for something special, I recommend you go in, ask questions and explore. You'll find great bottles, and you also find people who care, and that's the best part. So if you're in London, say Phil and Jeff sent you. And hey, I still think it's still one of the best cities in the world to buy whiskey. So cheers, and above all, make sure you share and enjoy.